Welcome to the e-learning classroom by Management Guru Mantra. I am Professor Kishore Parth, and today the topic we are going to cover is 14 principles of management given by Henri Fayol. These principles are often also known as administrative principles. So keep watching till the end of video. Now let's begin with a little biography of Henri Fayol. He was born on 1841 in Istanbul, Turkey. Istanbul is one of a major city in Turkey. He was a French mining engineer and management theorist. He is often referred as French mining engineer because he was a French national. He graduated from Mining Academy in 1880, and soon after graduation he founded a mining company and became its managing director in 1888, and he remained at that position till 1918. He passed away in 1925 in Paris, and due to his contributions to management theory and principles, he is also known as father of administrative principles. Now let's move to the next slide. Now we'll understand management principle. Management principles are the universally accepted and applicable rules or recommendations that guides the behavior or decision making of a manager and helps the organization grow. In other words, we can also understand these principles as management principles are set of certain rules which are accepted worldwide no matter which country and what size the company is. And it is always helps decision makers to take such decisions which may help an organization to achieve its objectives. Let's move to the new slide. As you can see on your screen, these are the 14 principles of management given by Henri Fayol. The first principle is division of work. Second principle, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest over general interest, remuneration, the degree of centralization and decentralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, and esprit de corps. In coming slides, we will discuss these principles in details. The first principle is division of work. According to Henri Fayol, specialization promotes efficiency of the workforce and increases productivity. So work should be divided among individuals and groups according to their experience, expertise, level of skills, and specialization. This principle helps to reduce cost, resources, and time in the organization. Now let's see another slide. Next principle is authority and responsibility. Fayol defined authority as the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience. The manager should have the power to give orders, but they should also remember that with authority comes responsibility. In other words, authority and responsibility go together and they are two sides of the same coin. As you can see in the picture, it shows three different management levels. And authority flows from top to bottom and responsibility flows from bottom to top. Now move to the next slide. Third principle is discipline. This principle of management is about obedience. Good conduct and respectful interactions are often a part of the core value of mission and vision of an organization. This management principle is essential and is seen as the oil to make the engine of an organization run smoothly. In other words, we can understand the principle of discipline as it says employees should respect, comply, and compel the rules and regulations set by those who regulate the organization. Discipline ought to be maintained, and good discipline is the result of effective leadership. Now move to the next slide. The next principle is unity of command. The management principle unity of command means that an individual employee should receive orders from one manager and should be accountable to that only. As you can see above, we have two pictures. The first picture shows two employees are taking orders and accountable to two superiors, which is absolutely a wrong approach as you can't have two different bosses at the same time. It reduces productivity of an employee. In another picture, it shows two employees are taking orders and accountable to one superior, which is ideal and universal situation for any organization. Move to the next slide. Fifth principle is unity of direction. Employees who deliver same activities should be linked to the same objective in the organization. All activities must be carried out by one group that forms a team. These activities must be described in a plan of action. In one line, unity of direction means the entire firm will move in the same direction. Next slide. Next principle is subordination of individual interest over general interest. There are always many kinds of interest in an organization, like organizational interest, social interest, and personal interest. And in personal interest, even the interest of an individual differs from person to person. So the interest of any one employee should never be given more importance than the interest of the organization. The next principle is remuneration. Motivation and productivity are close to one another as far as the smooth running of an organization is concerned. This management principle argues that the remuneration should be sufficient to keep employees motivated and productive. There are two types of remuneration, namely non-monetary and monetary, which plays an important role for employees' motivation. These monetary and non-monetary remunerations are also referred as financial and non-financial benefits given to employees in the organization against the work done and for their motivation. Let's understand what is financial benefits and what is non-financial benefit. Financial benefits mainly includes salary, bonus, incentives, other fringe benefits, etc. And non-financial benefits includes rank in position, career advancement opportunities, job enrichment, etc. Now let's move to the next slide. The next principle is degree of centralization. Centralization implies the concentration of decision-making authority at the top management, that is executive board, and sharing of authority for the decision-making process with lower levels, that is middle and lower management, is referred to as decentralization. Henri Fayol indicated that an organization should strive for a good balance in this. As we can see, we have two different pictures here on the screen. One is representing centralization and another is representing decentralization. So as you can see, the first image shows the centralization of authority at the core or at the top of the administrative system. But in the second image, it shows delegation of authority among the lower levels of management as well. So there should be a blend of centralization and decentralization in the organization, and lower level employees should also be taken under consideration in the process of decision making. That is very important thing to remember. We'll move to the next slide now. The next principle is scalar chain. Every organization has a hierarchical structure and employees should know their position in the organization's hierarchy. Managers in hierarchies belong to a chain-like authority scale. Each manager has a certain amount of authority. The top management has the highest authority and the lower management has the least authority. It is important for lower level managers to inform upper level managers about their work activities. The existence of a scalar chain is essential. Now again, as you can see in the image, it is a line of authority, a chain of superiors from highest to lowest rank in the hierarchy. And according to Fayol, this chain must be followed while the transfer of information. In certain scenarios, you can avoid this chain, but these are exemptions. Look at the picture. It has three-way communication process. 1, upward communication, 2, downward communication, and 3, horizontal communication. The first two communication follows the hierarchical chain, but the horizontal communication is like an employee from one department can share information to employee of another department. But both should be sitting at the similar capacity and similar position. This happens through a bridge, which is also known as gangplank, as you can see it over there. Now we'll move to another slide. The next management principle is order. According to this principle, employees in an organization must have the right resources at their disposal so that they can function properly in an organization. In addition to social order, that is responsibility of the managers, the work environment must be safe, clean, and tidy. Next principle. This is equity. The management principle of equity often included in the core values of an organization. According to Fayol, employees of an organization must be treated kindly and equally. Employees should always be in the right place in the organization to do things of their expertise and skills. Managers should supervise and monitor this process, and they should treat employees fairly and impartially. In one sentence, we can define it that employees should be treated and judged according to their work and skills and not according to their sex, religion, and region. Now we'll move to the next principle. Next principle is stability of tenure. In every organization, managers must take an effort to reduce employees' turnover. They should give priority to personnel planning because recruitment and selection is a costly process. Retaining employees should be a high priority of management as it also enhances the morale of an employee and increases their productivity. In other words, we can also say that the rate of attrition should be less in any organization. This is essential for the productivity of an individual as well as also important for the growth of an organization. Now we'll move to the next principle. The next principle is initiative. Henri Fayol suggests employees should be allowed to express new ideas and take initiatives. This encourages interest and involvement of an individual and creates added value for the company. Employees' initiatives are a source of strength for the organization, according to Fayol. This encourages the employees to be more involved at their workplace. One more very important point to remember is the ability of taking initiative creates leadership. So please remember these things. Now we'll move to another slide. The next and 14th principle of Henri Fayol is esprit de corps. Esprit de corps is a French phrase that translates into group spirit. Esprit de corps is one of Henri Fayol's 14 administrative principles. The principle states that an organization must take every effort to maintain group cohesion in the organization. It notes that dividing your competition is a clever tactic, but dividing your own team is a serious error. We can also understand in other way that in any sort of organization, there should not be the concept of I, but it should always be we. We represents team and team plays an important role for the growth of organization. Okay, that's all for today's class. We'll come up with another topic in the next video. So stay tuned and subscribe the channel so that you could get connected. Have a good day and keep learning.